started getting worse, having troubles walking. It wasn't until I had an emergency MRI that they discovered that I have MS.
Oh, one of the biggest concerns that I do see here is no rails. He doesn't even have his 4x4 at all into the ground.
I went to work one morning and there was no ramp. I came home that night and there was a ramp.
It's just wrong. How do you do that? We don't have a choice in here. We're gonna rip this down and we're gonna start from scratch.
This needs railings.
I'm looking forward to seeing that new ramp.
Mike Holmes, did they actually do this ramp?
No, they didn't. Motherfuckers. You want a good job? Keep me in shape. Okay, contractor.
God, I love my job.
Neighborhood's just great. It's nice and quiet. The evenings are perfect. It's beautiful. I found the house, and not even 6 months later, they discovered that I have MS. I was a paramedic for 15 years, and then in the last couple of years, I started getting worse, having troubles walking, and I've gone down the tubes in the last couple of years really bad. I can't walk, can't stand. Edith basically has to look after me. I'm totally dependent on her. I've gone from being able to walk to being basically confined to my scooter.
Good morning, Chris and Edith.
Good morning, Mike.
Good morning.
How you doing? I believe it was a co-worker that had done a few odds and ends for him before. So he thought he'd hire him and see if he could do the ramp for him.
And it kept getting delayed. It was going to be April, then it was going to be May, then it was going to be June, and we kept calling, and he would say he'd be out on the weekend or something, and he wouldn't come in. He wouldn't come. But then there would be more reasons, and finally, he wasn't returning any of Chris's phone calls.
He just never finished the work, and that's the unfortunate part. My fellow was supposed to come back, put some rails on it and everything, but it's been over a year.
I'm sorry that he hasn't finished this. I can see a few things immediately that are incorrect. Oh, one of the biggest concerns that I do see here is no rails. We definitely want a nice 36-inch rail here with a side stop for your wheels. This is very illegal. And he didn't do this with a permit, did he?
No.
I can see that right off the bat because this would never pass. I don't like it that he's gone on just precast concrete there. He's only Tapcon screwed it to the wall. I don't like that. This little support that he's put in here is not good at all. It is going to help hold the weight load for the center, but because he's cut it on an angle and he's got his 4x4, he doesn't even have his 4x4 at all into the ground. He's just got it sitting there. It's all against code. We have to dig this into the ground 4 feet deep. That's code. It's just structurally not strong enough, and it's a little scary.
The tenant has a little girl as well. It's too dangerous. You can't have an elevated platform like that without railings. If I go flying off of it, I just got a little ambitious with the scooter, but I can't have a little one getting hurt. We knew we'd normally need a permit, but it's such a hassle to go through it all. When your disability changes so quickly, you need things, you know, not yesterday, but yesterday would have been fine.
Chris was very patient, called him many times, and just over a year later, with no rails, very dangerous. Even in the winter, it built up ice. It was way too steep. We're looking at a product to actually paint over this, and it's a non-slip paint because I heard a story of you doing the old slip down the...
Oh, I went skiing from the top to the bottom, no motor, no nothing. I don't want her to get hurt either. You know, if she's sliding down the ramp in the wintertime, that's not safe. You know, because without her, I've had it.
We are not going to have the slope that he had. We are going to do this to code, and that code is for every 12-inch run, it drops 1 inch.
It's frustrating. Besides the disease being so frustrating in itself, you know, you don't need other problems.
This man used to be a paramedic, saving lives on a daily basis. And now it's his turn to be saved. And what happens here? We get somebody that really didn't care, but he should have finished this. At least made it safe for him. It's just wrong. How do you do that? How do you sleep at night? How do you go away knowing that, you know, you didn't care about it, you didn't do anything about it, and leave it this way? I don't get it. We're gonna do this. Let's do it right. We're gonna sonotube it, go into the ground 4 feet, have saddles. We're gonna show you what this should have looked like.
I can build stuff. I know how to do it. The only problem is I physically can't do it anymore. I'm lucky if I can just hang on to a hammer.
Well, let me get to work. Let's see what I can do.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
We're gonna rip this down, and we're gonna start from scratch. We're gonna make sure that not only is it structurally safe, but it's gonna look good.
I went to work one morning and there was no ramp. I came home about 8:30, 9 o'clock that night and there was a ramp.
Charged him $5,000 to build this.
A year and a bit now, and no finished work.
That blows me away. Wheelchair ramps have some very specific safety regulations on how they're built. And this one's a joke, unfortunately, but we're gonna take it apart, see what we can salvage, and we'll go from there. I want to keep it off in one piece if we can, right?
Oh,
so
you
we're not
want
connected
you
to
want
here?
the,
Yeah, I want to keep the head
the lintel
plate.
with it too.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
All right, so we'll just unscrew the top here?
Yeah. There I am. I think I can salvage some of it, but not much. In no time, this comes down. Well, you know, it blows me away how guys can pick up a hammer and call themselves a contractor. He's got some decent deck building skills here, but no knowledge of structure whatsoever. It's a shame, really. This is just a waste of lumber. You should have done it right in the first place. Do I have any more metal blades? Thank you, sir. Okay, guys, just bring that over here, please, and we'll see what we can salvage from this decking. This is not a big deal that he's just finished this with foam, but it's not the way I would have done it. Critters, we have squirrels, anything can eat its way in there. Now I want to open it, and I want to see what he's done here. So we're going to pull off the front piece. We're going to pull up the floor. Since we're 16-inch on center, which we're going to set up with 2x10s and not 2x8s, let's pull all these boards off. I'm going to reuse them. We're going to use a non-slip paint at the end of this, so it'll neaten it all up. Well, you know what? It's nice to see these used carriage bolts to the 4x4s for the framing. However, these carriage bolts are not galvanized and they're not stainless steel. So as you can see, within the first year, we're already rusting. That's what we don't want. If these rust and rot, it's gonna fall apart, it's gonna weaken it. So it has to be galvanized or stainless steel. Just a sheet of plywood, there's not even a beam there. Actually, I don't even have a beam at all under this doorway. However, we have a sheet of plywood here. We had the foam on the outside. It's 1.5 inches. It's not sufficient. We have no insulation whatsoever at the bottom here. It's going to make for a very cold area. We have no support underneath the bottom here, so now I'm going to rejig this. I'm going to have to fix this up, and we definitely want to insulate this area. All right, let's get these post holes dug. We'll have to cut the asphalt a little bit to center the saddles over the post holes. Doesn't matter. We're going to be cementing it in anyways. With the height that we have here, and we need a 1-inch drop for every running foot, we're gonna have about a 30-foot ramp here. So we're gonna need about 10 post holes in the ground to structurally support this.
Let's take her over to the other side, Johnny.
I want them at 4 feet deep. This way, for freeze thaw, we don't have any problems. Actually, I'll do the driveway ones first. Now we're staying level? Good.
Beauty hole, eh?
The reason we don't put it all the way down is we actually want the concrete to fill the area at the bottom. With the auger making a hole, if he has any void around it, that's no good. So we only want it about 2 feet down, and then we fill the other 2 feet with cement. Now we're mixing up some quick setting cement here so we can get it to set within an hour. It takes about 24 hours for it to fully cure. If we're gonna do a structure like this, it should be cemented into the ground 4 feet deep, so this is really a solid deck. Oh, the other guy just put it on the ground. That's not gonna do anything. It's not gonna structurally support it at all. This is a saddle, and it's required to hold the 4x4 posts that we're putting in. So once it sets in the cement, it's gonna lock us in place to tie in the 4x4s. It's extremely important that we take our time here and run these lines so we can get trueness from one 4x4 to another before this concrete sets. Got all the stuff down here. We're just finishing up with some stuff here. We got some wood behind the patio stones there. That's about it. Well, you would think it's just a silly ramp, but it's not. We did hire an architect for this to come in and plan this out to detail, to code. Okay, we're good for the line? Now, whatever you do, don't move. I like it perfect. We're just, we have a lot to do today. I want to try and get the floor up, and I want to do a clear coat non-slip on the top. So it's 1:30 now, we're under the gun, but we're going to jump on it. Hopefully to get this done before this rain that is threatening us comes down. Okay. Stay still for a sec, guys. All right, I'm fine with that. Let's get a screw in the center right there, Benj. Now hold it right up on the line. Don't put it all the way in, just tag her. Yeah, I want this to be precisely level. We're gonna have top boards on it with a 1/2 inch, 3/8 gap in between, so we'll have plenty of drainage for snow. We still have to do 2 carriage bolts this way and this one as well. I've set this up this way as a temporary support to hold this exactly where I want it so I can pilot drill it. I need 2 over here. I'll use 2 wood here, 2 wood here, and 2 concrete leg and shield over there. So what that does is marks the brick, so when I go to drill it with a 3/4 inch concrete bit, I have no problems with it. We want 2 on the backboard, the face board, for about every 18 inches. Kind of a pain, but by doing it this way, we're guaranteed to be level and square. I don't mind putting it up and taking it down again just to make it right. Leg bolts and shields are required here to attach the ramp to the house. Unlike the other guy who used concrete screws, that just won't do. We want it against the wall. At this point, we can square it off and then set our 4x4s. That way, we're perfectly square, perfectly level, start at the house. I want that completely flush. A good rule of thumb would be for whatever your thickness is of the plate against the wall, it has to be twice the thickness in the wall. So if we have 1.5 inches, we want 3 inches in the wall. Well, these are carriage bolts. And what we have is when we knock it in, we see that our square part gets into the 4x4, which will give us a nice strong base of holding this. Its appearance, it's nice. Required by code that we have 2 in each. That's what gives us the strength on the outside.
Right there.
Okay. I like it perfect. Let's look at this. We're 4 feet deep in the ground. We're not going to have any shift whatsoever by freezing, okay? So this will never move. If you just set it on the ground, granted, it will move with the ground up and down and go level, unlevel, and back to level again, possibly. But by code, it's not allowed.
Gotta go towards you more, Don.
Okay, clamp that on, Bench. Now, whatever you do, don't move. I'm trying to gain squareness from this one to this one so that we're the same distance apart, and yet level both posts at the same time as well as the deck. So it's a little bit of a trick. I want it level. We have a level, we have a square, let's do it. Once I do the sheeting of the top boards on this, if I don't have it square and level, you'll see it, just much like doing ceramic tile. So let's do it right now, then everything else follows in place. David, how are you?
Yeah, how's it going?
Not so bad. We're approximately 4 feet apart here. I dropped it 4 inches from the upper to the lower.
Yeah.
And it looks like we're not gonna have an issue with the 1 to 12 inch run here.
Yeah, and you don't necessarily need to have an architect come in to design, you know, a deck or a ramp in this case, but what you do need to have is proper drawings. You know, you have to go into the city, find out what the requirements are, the setbacks.
I think it's rather easy to get a permit. It's not a big deal. The government's really on our side. They're not against us. Just to have an architect or even drop the plans yourself and submit them to get a permit.
And then you need to find someone who's going to get to put together a package for you so the city can take it in and approve it.
And by going to the government, really to me is getting a second opinion. Rather than just one, we have two.
So in this situation, you know, we went in and got a permit. If you build things without permits, your neighbors can come by and say, I don't like it, phone the city on you, and you'll have to remove it at your own expense. If you've gone through the process, you can ensure that what you're getting is built properly also and avoid a situation such as this.
And as a contractor, I like working from architectural plans. It ensures things are designed to proper building and safety codes.
Yeah.
And for me, that means no surprises during construction.
Yeah.
But this is a safety issue. This is for wheelchairs, so we have to make this right.
Yeah.
All right, Dave. Thanks, pal.
Thanks so much,
I'm gonna
Mike.
get back to work.
Good luck.
Thank you. Clean these two? Oh, it's all about the decking now. We're gonna use 3-inch exterior wood screws. They'll weather with no problem.
Here you go, Don.
I really, really want to get this, the top boards on this today. As long as it doesn't rain this evening, we're gonna clear coat it. We'll see. Well, I just want to neaten this up. By code, I really only needed about 2x8s on here. But because I'm using 2x10s on the ramp, I want 2x10s on the wall. It makes it all uniform and looks really good. My object is to get this done today. And that's going to be a chore, but we'll see what we can do.
Just screwing in the joist hangers now.
One thing about your joist hangers, when you put them on, there is a reason for all the screw holes, and that is to put screws in. They say that you can put in nails, we use screws.
Nails are cheaper, yes, but in the long run, with all the labor you save with screws, it's a far superior way of doing it.
Just fathom the idea of about 3,000 to 4,000 screws on this ramp alone.
Construction adhesive, great stuff. Doing a miter joint here. Miter joints in wood, exterior wood, have a tendency of wanting to come apart. So if you put some glue in with them, and a couple screws, that helps the miter stay together. Put it underneath so I can hide this one, and you do not see it.
Right,
Okay.
continuous angle down.
Right.
It is only a 1/4 inch, but it still creates the angle.
Yeah, there's no...
And then we can plane the top of it. All right?
Yeah.
Well, what we're doing here is trying to sink a 2x10. So we're just gonna do a trench for each board.
This is a very strange way of doing this, but it's all about imagination on how we're going to make this work. Well, normally, if you put any wood in the ground, we have a concern with rot. In this case, we're using pressure treated, which is allowed, and we're going to bury that into the ground to structurally support the upper deck. So I'm going to notch the beams to carry it through where we can sit it flat inside. We'll screw it down in between, which gives us a complete level surface and something to bite to on each end of the end rafters, as well as tying into the post there. The nail gun is just to tack it in place to hold it till Sean follows me with the screws. The nail gun is not good enough. We want it screwed tight. If anybody fell against it, we want it nice and strong. We have 20-inch by 20-inch patio stones. I want it tight to the sidewalk. I'm going to use limestone screening to backfill this area. And I'm actually going to put the stone right on the edge of this. Because we're using 2x6s across, I really don't need a nailing edge here. It's very strong. So we're sitting the stone on top of the 2x6 and having the 2x6 come to it. So we have a continuous run right down to the sidewalk. 2 thumbs up. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, this is looking great.
We put a non-slip coat over the top, so it's gonna help for anybody slipping down.
No more skiing?
No more skiing.
Oh, excellent.
Oh, and a handrail. Look at this. Oh, this is nice.
Look at the little trees,
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
we just put in a little bit of
the little bushes,
little flavor.
little flavor. That looks cool.
Every once in a while, I say to myself, why do I do this?
This has made my life much easier.
This is why I do this.
And safer.
That's what I want to
And
hear.
safer.
And safer.
That's exactly what I want to hear.
Edith will be even able to push me up here with no problem at all.
Yeah, well, I'll push you around, all right.
This isn't just a bunch of lumber. This is his lifeline. This is an individual, somebody that needed this. The bottom is actually a curb rail, and so if you are in a wheelchair, it will stop your wheels from hitting any of the pickets.
I'm amazed I can turn around here. I went up straight and then I just turned around here. Lots of room.
Well, that makes it nice and easy for you.
A lot easier. I'm not going to get hurt on this. And neither's the kid. Nobody's going to fall off now.
No, nobody's gonna fall off. It's very, very strong.
I don't have to worry about safety. Come on. This is a solid, sturdy, very safe ramp.
He's a little cutie, eh? I'm just happy to know that, you know, when I leave here, it's gonna stay here for many years to come. Well, you know what? You've been taking care of people all your life. Maybe now it's your turn. People should take care of you or even help take care of you.
Well, true. I don't like to. I'm not used to having.
You're used to giving, not
Yeah.
receiving.
Yeah, done it an awful lot. Thank you.
You're welcome, Chris. You're so welcome. This has honestly been my pleasure. Keep smiling, okay?
Oh, I try.
I'm coming back for a coffee. Edith,
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
we'll talk soon.
You guys take it easy. Thank you for such a beautiful job.
Good game. See you tomorrow. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks, buddy. Thank you. Thank you.